Alright, so I just wanted to give a quick overview of an Instagram tool that I've been working on for OnlyFans creators. The main purpose of this tool is to A, go out and find new OnlyFans creators' Instagram accounts, and B, we want to also go out and find followers of these OnlyFans models so that we can target them later on with follow-on-follow, mass messaging, and other BlackHat methods. Quick overview of what we have going on here. First off, we are here in Airtable. Airtable is a fantastic tool for building out other tools on top of and prototyping. The first view that we have here is scrape following. So all this is here is essentially a big dump of all the creators that we have been scraping. We've clarified that they are OnlyFans creators, and then we are going ahead and scraping their following. The reason we scrape the following and not the followers is that there seems to be a much higher return on scraping the following for finding more creators. Over here in our second view, we'll see that we have segregated the creators that we have already scraped all their following. We simply do that by using a Airtable formula field. If the following scraped is equal to the following, we give it a little thumbs up. Scrape followers, we haven't started scraping the followers yet. We've been mainly focusing on trying to build out the highest quality database full of OnlyFans creators. Then we will go and start scraping the followers so we can start targeting them with follow-on-follow. Over here in our following database, this is the main database where we are storing all the scraped following from the original source accounts. Over here we enter all the following in here. So our first view you'll see here is the following profile unscraped. So when we do the first following scrape, all we're getting is their username, their full name. We don't get their profile picture, their followers, or nothing like this. This has got to be a separate action. All we're filtering for here is that the followers is empty, meaning we haven't scraped it yet. The page is not found and we haven't assigned a gender yet. We'll get into this in a second. On our second view here is AI image check. So at the moment we are using a subpar API to do a rough image analysis. We are trying to filter out males, females, and brand accounts, just so we're not scraping irrelevant profiles and wasting API credits. Instagram API is very finicky, and unlike TikTok and some other APIs, we are much more constrained with the amount of profiles that we can scrape. When we go into the automations in a second, I'll show you exactly how that works, but you can essentially see here we've still got 16,000 to run through the AI image check. I'm looking at creating my own API to be able to do this because all the ones we've found so far are pretty average. You'll see here we're using this Face++. It's probably one of the better ones that we've found so far. As we go further down our segregated views, you'll see we separate all the accounts that have a link in their bio. There is no filtering here, we're just making sure the bio link is not empty to make sure it comes into this view. So you'll see here, this is just a large unfiltered dump of Instagram profiles that have a bio link. When we start filtering things down a little bit more, I'll show you the filter here. All we're looking for is the account is not private, the bio link is not empty, and then we meet these filter conditions where bio link contains any of these all the way down to here. These are just common phrases and terms that we find in OnlyFans creators on Instagram. So we want to make sure that their bio link contains that and also their bio as well. And also the gender is female. This is something that is updated via the API. This is just a test to see how well this works. Something I'm going to start working on this week is a better way to be able to single out creators so we can clean up our database. In our error view here, you will see the manual profile picture check. You'll very quickly see why I'm looking at just building my own API. It'll be easier just to learn how to build an API than it would be to try and use these average ones that we are paying a considerable amount of money for. You can very clearly see that it's not done a very good job of picking out males, females, and brands. So we're going to work on that this week, and I'll create a video as soon as that is done. And then over into the followers, we haven't started scraping the followers yet. This is still a prototype. This will fill out exactly the same as all the other ones, but this is going to segregate creators from followers of OnlyFans creators accounts that we can then target with our BlackHat methods later on. Coming over into the automation side of things, I'm going to do a separate video on what exactly this tool is, but this is a automation tool called N8N. Amazing tool, very very similar to things like Make, formerly Integromat, or Zapier, minus the cost, and this can be self-hosted to run enormous automations. Super powerful tool. Once again, I'll go through that in a separate video. Breaking down the automation that we have here, we are searching the Airtable database for creators. Pop this open real quick. This is why we use our different views. You can see here that down the bottom I can pick which particular view I want to list from, as opposed to having to try and use the filter by formula in Airtable. Anybody that's tried to do this has realized it can be quite annoying for people that don't have programming knowledge, so it's easier to just segregate by the views. We then split down into a smaller chunk size, and then we process through the rest of the automation. So a quick scrape of the profile. This will then get us all the information on that particular profile. We set the information that we want to keep to try and cut down on the information being passed through the workflow. We are setting the bio link, full name, followers, following, whether the account is private, whether it is verified. We're grabbing the profile picture and then the Instagram unique ID, which is called the PK ID in this case. And then we update the Airtable record. Coming across to the Instagram image detection workflow at the moment. So this is what it looks like at the moment. Super basic workflow. You'll see a bit of a theme going on as we go through the automations here. Searching the Airtable database, setting the information that we wish to pass through, breaking it down, splitting it into bite-sized chunks, sending off the API request, in this case to this Face++ API, and then checking if we got a face response. If we did get a face, we update that. If we did not get a face, we also update that. Alright, coming across to one of our more complicated workflows, this is the following scraper. I will go into more detail in another video on how exactly and why we create the workflows like this, but essentially same thing, searching Airtable, splitting it into bite-sized chunks, sending off to the sub workflow. This here is the sub workflow. These first three nodes are essentially just receiving, formatting, and setting the data coming from the main workflow. We're then scraping the following, setting the information that comes out of the API, so we're not passing unnecessary amounts of data, listing out each of the followers, and then we use the Airtable upsert. The reason we use the upsert node here in Airtable is that it will check the database to see whether this follower exists. If the follower does not exist, it will add it into our database. If the follower does exist, it will update the statistics and then link this follower to this main account to prioritize scraping them first. And then we come in and update the max ID just so we can essentially scrape a full list of followers. And then this set node here, this is just cutting down, or obviously as it says right here, we're clearing the memory so that when we come back to the main workflow, you see we come out the back, we put it back in, we're not passing in another 100 followers that we've scraped and then clogging up the workflow. So just a quick little overview, an interesting little tool that I've been working on here. The main constraints here are the actual Instagram scraping APIs that we use on Rapid API. Due to the fact that Instagram has been around for so long, their API is very sensitive and we do not have the same free reign that we do on TikTok to be able to scrape copious amounts of information. We've got to be very precise to make sure we're not wasting API credits. We do not get the same amount of API calls that we do with other APIs. That's pretty much it for today. I am working on a project using Python automating physical Android phones. I'm going to do a video on this later in the week as I am a Python noob, so to speak. Till then, thank you very much for watching the video and I will see you in the next one.